Tip.
Good afternoon. It is May 29th, 2019. You're listening to A Little Column A, A Little Column B, hosted by Will Limnos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How you doing today, buddy?
What's going on, Will? In another Welcome to 2019, here's a headline for you. Fugitive agrees to surrender if wanted poster gets 15,000 Facebook likes.
15,000.
Good idea or bad idea?
Let me ask you this: Is 15,000 a lot of people, or is that not a lot of people? Because that really doesn't seem like that many. That seems like a very doable thing. I imagine if this was what they agreed upon, they were able to get that almost instantly.
I would think a celebrity, yes. A regular person, it seems really hard. You have what? 500 friends? Is that like the average? Somewhere around there?
Yeah, but
Say even double that. Say you have 1,000 friends. So you got get half of them to like it. You got to get them to send it out to more people. And I don't know. I don't know if you get it and still. I don't know if this is the kind of street cred that you want to accumulate before you go to prison.
No, I don't think it's street cred you want at all, but I think it's a popularity sort of thing. I think the internet is very strange on the things they decide to back and support. I think this sounds like something the internet would be immediately behind of, like, yes, let's get this guy that created this crime or did something bad to somebody or did something illegal and that is now wanted. Let's fix this. I think the internet would get behind that almost instantly, and that 15,000 could happen very quickly. What is the real advantage of all this? He wants some popularity out of this. He wants to be known. He wants to be known as a criminal. He wants 15,000 people at minimum to know about this.
I guess so. And a little deeper into the story, he got a hold of them through Facebook Messenger. As you do. Hey, police! I know you're looking for me. I got an idea. He originally wanted 20,000 likes, and the officer talked him down to 15,000.
Oh, they negotiated.
I don't think I would have thought to do that. I think I would have been like, no, we're gonna keep looking for you. We don't really care. But maybe from that guy's side, it's more of a, hey, maybe we could get this guy his likes. That's easier than going out looking for him, and maybe this is an easy way to get the job done.
I'm imagining somebody like the partner to this officer being like, we don't negotiate with terrorists or something like that. And this guy just said, yeah, 15,000. We got him down. We won the deal here, right? Negotiating is an open-ended thing. That is a neat story, though. Do you know what he's being charged with? Do we know any more?
Yes. Yeah, I made sure to look that up before it was, because I feel like there's a big range of, maybe non-harmful crime versus oh yeah, this guy is a murderer. It changes the dynamic up. So he's a criminal. It's not great, but it's the underlying charges involve drugs, DUI, protective order violation, breach of the peace, and false reporting cases, as well as 4 warrants for first-degree failure to appear in court and 3 warrants second-degree failure to appear. Not sure if you don't show up what the levels are. I'm gonna have to do some research into that, because that sounds interesting. Of if you don't show up, what makes it worse? So did you show up and you were a jerk, and so they count that as you weren't cooperative, and so that's no good. So yeah, 7 times has already missed his court date. So
oh man, it's just
he's been on the loose for a little while now.
That's just getting exponentially worse. Now, if you reach down on Facebook, you would think that you would have the technology in this day and age to essentially track him. Do we know why that didn't happen? I mean, it's just like the movies, right? Aren't they able to just do that? Or does that only happen in the movies?
I'm guessing no. Also, part of it is they think that he's in New York and he's from Torrington, Connecticut, so not super far away, but it could kind of be, hey, these are some local cops. They're looking for this guy, but do not have the resources to be searching all over New York. So maybe they kind of know where he is, and it's just hey, if you guys find this guy, send him our way, but we don't really have the resources to send a fleet out to go collect him.
Do you did you like the post by any chance, or where did you find this? Did you find this on Facebook? The article? Did you support him?
No?
Do you think we should encourage our listeners to do that?
No, I will not be liking his wanted poster. I'm not gonna.
Why not? You don't want this guy behind bars?
I think this is similar to what you said. We don't have to negotiate with terrorists. I don't want to be part of his street cred.
Well, aren't you in
street cred?
Aren't you in some way serving the people though? Right? You're doing a modest job right now. You're doing something. You're serving justice. You can be impacting right now. We could have this criminal behind bars, and you are instead.
He's missed. He's missed it 7 times. What makes you think when he gets the likes that he's actually going to turn himself in?
That's the
This
argument I
seems
was
like
waiting for.
exactly about he gets there and he goes and he says, this seemed to work. 100,000.
I think if it did do, if for whatever reason it does get to 15,000 likes, which I'm sure it could easily get to there, if the right exposure was made. I totally agree that he would just say, all right, now I'm not going to show up, and 15,000 people at minimum know that they did something expecting a result, and that didn't happen, and now they got to share it with 10,000 more people about how pissed off they are about that. I'm like, this guy made a promise. The outrage would go all over the internet. So do you think that this guy gets caught, or is this going to be an ongoing story? Like, do you think next week we have an update on this?
I think that this is one of those stories that just kind of goes away, and it's just a fun little flash in the pan, but doesn't really go any farther.
Well, it doesn't really go anywhere. All right. Well, speaking of not really going anywhere, this is the perfect transition to the Toronto Raptors, who are heading to the finals. But let's be honest, they're not really going anywhere. I say get the broom out. 4 games quick. Kawhi Leonard leaves. It's already all set in stone. We already know what's going to happen. Are you going to disagree with anything I just said, or are you going to kind of wait and see? What do you think?
I think that they'll. I think Toronto will get a game. That it's they're the home team, right?
Are they? I know Milwaukee had
I believe.
the best record. Was Toronto ahead of Golden State?
I think that they were because the talk was that Durant wasn't even going to take the trip to Toronto.
Oh yeah, that I did hear that. I guess it is. It's funny because I feel like everyone as well as me, just assumes Golden State was the best team all year. It will be at Toronto. You're right. I just looked it up.
Yeah, I think a lot of people assume that, and it wasn't until I heard that it kind of just changed it to, oh yeah, probably a sweep to okay, maybe something could happen here. You got 2 games at home to try to figure something out. The crowd's going to be all sorts of excited. It's not going to be super super cold in the Jurassic Park area, so they'll be definitely having a even better time than they have been in past years when they're doing it at the beginning of April and it's snowing.
What kind of Drake antics are you expecting now? We're opening up the NBA Finals in his town now, his city. What's he bringing? What's he wearing? What's he doing? Did you see who wore the Tupac from the movie? It's not up there. What is the movie? The sweatshirt was a lookalike from the movie that Tupac was in, the basketball movie. Oh, I'm blanking on it. This isn't good. Nope.
Oh, nothing's popping up for me. I think that the NBA is gonna if they I think the NBA has already had a talk with him of saying, hey, we love your enthusiasm. You can't be touching the coach
Oh, above the
during
rim.
the game.
Above the rim. That's it.
Oh yeah. Um, it's cool, you're celebrating, but you gotta stay like in your general seat area. After the game, before the game, sure, you're super famous. That's cool. You're good for the brand. Everyone knows that you're a Raptors fan. But yeah, you can't be touching the coach mid game, and they're gonna, I think, tell him to kind of just turn it down, just a hair.
Yeah, I think they're gonna. I think they almost should have leaked that they said that to draw even more attention, because then it would be like, all right, everyone tune in to see what Drake may or may not do. Is he going to listen to the NBA or is he not? I think because we haven't heard that maybe they didn't say anything. Maybe they're just letting him go. I don't know what's going to happen next or what more he could really do. But him already getting handsy with the coaching, albeit his own team coach, that for me was already like, whoa, all right, this is a line that has been clearly crossed. I mean, you're a fan. You're supposed to be over here. You were way, way outside of your seat at this point. You were on the bench. You were in the staff. You were basically on the team at this point. And if everyone on the team is cool with it, that's fine. But if one person on the entire team is not cool with it, I think that immediately gives you grounds to not allow it. And I'm sure if they wanted to say that, they would have said that. So I'm under the impression that everyone's still okay with it. If I'm the other team, though, this is extra motivation. I want to shut this team out, and I want to shut him up.
I agree. Anytime you got a fan that's going to that level, your Spike Lee kind of situation, yeah, I think that that'll be not that the Warriors really need any extra motivation, but I could easily see some sort of Curry hits a three from the logo and looks over at Drake and winks at him, something along those lines of, "Hey, you came to play, I came to play too."
I've been seeing a lot of conversations about everyone saying that Drake is now the most recognizable sports fan, ahead of Jack in L.A., ahead of Spike Lee in New York. I think it's easier to argue that right now, seeing how both of those teams are in shambles and aren't exactly competitive. Neither made the playoffs this year. Do you think Drake has the new crown as the new celebrity fan across all sports, essentially?
I'm trying to think of some other ones. Bill Murray's a big sports fan. I'm trying to think who else that they'll show that's there all the time. I'm not sure if like biggest sports fan. Drake's just huge in general, so he shows up anywhere, and he's the most popular. He's the biggest X, wherever he goes. So I don't have a
Yeah, I
good
don't
enough
really
list
have.
of anyone to say for sure this person's over him. But I think if you were to poll a bunch of NBA fans of varying ages, I think Jack would still win. But definitely the younger crowd is Drake for sure.
It seems so crazy to me. It's bizarre right now that Canada has an actual chance to win at basketball right now. Is that something strange, or am I the only one that thinks that's a little
No,
weird? I mean, I guess they're not all. It's
I
not
don't
like
really
they're
think of
actual
it that
Canadian
strange.
players. It just feels strange that a Canadian
Yeah.
franchise is beating everybody in an American sport, more or less.
Oh, more every year, more and more Canadian players are coming into the league. So I don't know off the top of my head if Toronto has any Canadian players. I know they have a bunch of international players. I was reading something talking about when they were playing Milwaukee. It was Serge would talk to Pau in Spanish because Giannis speaks French and so wouldn't understand, and then would talk to like somebody like there were like
There's like a chain.
had some sort of like using different languages to try to gain a slight edge on pick and rolls and telling them like what defensive slides to make, and with the other team not knowing what they were saying.
You remember when you were a kid, you played the telephone game. Everybody whispered into one ear, and then by the end of it, you would see if the
Yeah,
phrase made it all the way around. Yeah, it never made it all the
yeah.
way around. I just wonder if that communication has just been a nightmare. How do you coach that? I think that's something that
I
nobody
think that's
really
a
thinks about.
I think that's a fun story, but also think about when you're playing basketball. Like you're not having full on conversation. It's pick left, pick right, hedge, and I would just think Giannis and the other team like they're smart enough to okay, let me look up what the Spanish word is for this, and these are the three phrases I'm hearing, and would be able to figure it out. And maybe there's still a half second late, but I think it's way more to do with your athleticism than knowing what the language is. I think it's just a fun story.
Well, Toronto needs to start practicing the word "help" in multiple languages. All right, they gotta master that because they're gonna need it.
Shooter.
Yeah, shooter. Yeah, that's another good one right there. They're gonna want to know all of those. Any chance at all? Are you giving Toronto any chance? Because I give them none. I already got the broom out. I'm calling a sweep. You said they're gonna get one game. If they steal maybe the first game, if not possibly two, they're gonna be at home right now. Are you giving them any chance to actually win the series?
Without Kevin Durant, I got a feeling that he's done. Just getting and other people have said this before, but I think it fits right in. Is the Kevin Garnett in 2009, when he was when it was like knee issue and like they had like a weird whatever was wrong, and kind of just a couple weeks later, it's a couple more weeks, and just continued into the playoffs, and this just seems yeah, we're gonna evaluate him in a week. He's for sure out like almost a week ahead of time for game one. It just seems like he's done, and they're just kind of keeping it as a possibility, so the Raptors have to think about it.
I also think you have to consider this guy's going to be a free agent. He can't go out hurting himself if he has any chance of making this injury any worse. He can't do that. He's going to be looking for a contract in a couple of months, and I know he's a top player and he's going to get it regardless. But don't you think he wants to keep his options open? He wants to be
Yeah, you
healthy.
definitely want to be healthy.
He's got to be healthy at the beginning of next year, especially if he's expecting this huge, massive contract that he's almost guaranteed
You
to
want to be
get.
healthy. Yeah, you want to be healthy, and this isn't his first time to the finals. He's won finals. He's won finals MVP. So sure, it'd be nice to play, but you've been part of the team all year, and I think you'd have to be real spiteful to bring that up of, oh well, he didn't even contribute it in the finals.
Well, with all that being said, I think that's another thing he does have to think about, though, is the legacy of all this is so altered with him leaving OKC and joining a team that's already set the record for most wins in a season, and then now a team that has advanced to the NBA Finals, not without him, but they did get through Portland without him, and easily. They were very dominant, and they were able to make a huge amount of adjustments. I still think without him they will win and more than likely sweep. Do you think part of him wants to be there just so he doesn't have to deal with that sort of scrutiny?
Part of him, all of them. He's a basketball player. For sure, he wants to play.
All right. Well, do you think he's willing to risk some of that health factor then to do that? Like, how bad does he want it? Is really what I'm kind of getting at here. Like, is he willing to potentially risk an injury for next year?
Team and the doctors. He is the team and the doctors all work together, and they're not going to risk him for something silly, especially if they're up 3-0. It's going to be fine. They're not going to take a huge risk, like you said. He's got a lot more basketball left for him to play, for him to try to make one finals. Where, like I said, he's won the past 2 NBA Finals MVP.
I think that's the other thing there is so now he has won the MVP the past couple of years for the Warriors. If he doesn't play, who's taking that MVP home? Iguodala took it the first year. I think Draymond has been the guy that's been doing a little bit of everything. Curry's, I think, the obvious choice, and then Clay. I mean, Clay has big games after big game after big game. He could easily steal this. I think there's plenty of opportunities here, and if in any way possible, if Toronto takes it, I think Kawhi is the easy answer on Toronto. But who do you think's taking home the MVP this year?
I think it's Steph. He's the guy when KD's not there, and sometimes he's even the guy sometimes. But I think that Clay won't have the sustained every game. It'll be Curry will have maybe some lulls, but his valleys will be higher than Clay's valleys, and it'll be him pretty easily. There won't be really much conversation about it.
I think if it's a short series, if it only goes 4 games and Golden State sweeps them, I think it's easily Curry's. I think if this series goes anything beyond 6 games, that it's going to be Draymond, because you're going to see in the lows that Draymond still does a whole lot, and some of the lows it's like, oh, Curry was off today, and then that I think Draymond Green will take home the MVP if there's more than 5 games played. I'll say that more than 5 games this series, Draymond takes the MVP.
Okay.
Anything less, I think it's Curry. And I think it'll make sense. He may not get the votes, and people may not agree with that, but I think we'll say from a basketball standpoint, maybe not such a celebrity standpoint or NBA popularity standpoint, we may have to look at it from a distance. It may not be quite as obvious. That's how all the MVP voting really is, though. But we'll wait.
It's a lot of narrative.
There's a whole bunch to there, and Draymond will probably need some help. All right, he'll have to hopefully not get nearly as many technical fouls as he's gotten in the past. He has to be on his best behavior if he really wants a chance at it. But, man, Draymond has been playing some really, really good basketball the past couple games. That last series, man, the passing, the defense, the fast break, the point guard spot, like he was doing a lot of stuff for them in that last series. So I'm excited to see what he can do in this one. I also think he's going to have a shot at guarding Kawhi Leonard. Who's the go-to guy to shut this guy down? If you're Steve Kerr right now, who's your best option to guard Kawhi Leonard?
I think you go the route of let Kawhi get all the points that he wants, let him shoot every time, and just shut everybody else down. Make him exhausted. So he's got to carry the entire offensive load, and he's got to guard somebody on the Warriors, and he just gets burned out. Because in that Milwaukee series, there's a lot of times where he was doing everything. There's nobody else. And in the Sixers series as well.
On the flip side of that, who are you going to put Kawhi on? He could guard Clay. He could guard Iguodala. He could guard Curry. And he, how he's still going to be carrying the heavy load on offense here, but he's got to guard somebody. But I almost think it's worth putting him on Curry. He's just going to be running around through screens, and you're going to be switching a whole lot of stuff anyways. Does it really make a lot of sense to do that?
I think you're better off putting one of the smaller guys on Curry. Just like you said, he's gonna be running off of all sorts of screens and his quickness, and not that Kawhi's not quick or anything like that, but just sometimes it just helps being smaller to get around those big screens.
I almost feel like Kawhi's defensive advantages are being wasted by Durant not playing because that's the type of guy he's really good at guarding. The isolation, one-on-one,
Yes.
guys that
Yep.
very few people in the NBA can stop. And it's almost like you're wasting the superior defensive talent of Kawhi Leonard by having him chase Curry around. I mean, granted,
I
that's
agree.
not very easy to stop either. All right, that takes a certain skill and a certain dedication on defense. But I think that's a weird kind of advantage that Toronto has that they're not really able to use of having a shutdown defender, but nobody to really use it on. But we'll just have to wait and see. It's going to be hopefully an
It's
exciting
taking
finals.
forever.
I know that I can't stand the wait right now. It drives me nuts.
I get that it's the finals and you got to get like a boatload of people to Toronto at this point, but it, there's such a lull. It seems it was forever. It's almost a full week.
Can we have a third place battle during this week right now? Can we do that? Is that fair?
I don't think you get anybody. It's hard to get people to care enough for regular season games, let alone for a third place game. But it
Look,
would be nice for something.
look, I guarantee me, you, and a whole bunch of people across the country and maybe even across the world right now, we're just aimlessly flipping the channel this week and are still flipping it right now, begging for something to turn on right now. I mean, we all tried the NHL Stanley Cup Finals and all of that, but if there was basketball on right now, even if it was an irrelevant third place game, I think it would still draw a decent amount of people. There's nothing to watch right now. If you're not a baseball person and you're a hockey person, you want basketball. I think it's a solution here. And why would the NBA turn down more games? It's just more money, more tickets to sell, more TV time, more ways to stay in the news right now than just having Magic Johnson just rip the Lakers every day. Like I think they'd rather that.
They're definitely still very much in the news.
Yeah, well. Speaking about in the news, one of the recruits from high school, top 5 recruit, R.J. Hampton, am I saying that right, is made an announcement that he's going to be skipping college and going to play basketball overseas in New Zealand. This is not the first player to ever do this, but I think this is the first person in a while, and probably the first person that has as much skill as him to do this. I think Jennings is the one that comes to mind who did it. I think he went and played in Italy for a little bit.
That sounds right.
Not the greatest example because his career didn't exactly pan out the way everyone anticipated. But this guy, I think there's a lot of high hopes for. I like the decision. I'm in support of it. I know you're a big college basketball person. Are you upset or are you excited that Kansas is now going to be missing this top 5 recruit?
As a top 5 guy, he was definitely on all the elite basketball programs boards. Everyone was hoping to get him. He actually reclassified not too long ago. So he was a junior. That's what, when you reclassify, you just become a senior, which kind of seems like a joke because it's like, well, wait a minute. When I was a junior, I couldn't just go to college. Like I had to do senior year, but for whatever reason, it's like you're just able to as an elite athlete. Was definitely a surprise. Definitely didn't see that coming at all. He's one of the last elite recruits to commit, so it really could have swung some of the team's fortunes. As a top 5 guy. Really interesting going to Australia. It's a long ways away from home. As a 18-year-old, you after college moved pretty far away, not quite to another country, but you moved from the East Coast to the West Coast. That was pretty far. Do you think that you were able to handle it pretty well? You were 4 years older than he would be, but it can be a lot going to a completely new area.
Look,
And have to figure it out.
Those 4 years make a huge difference. All right, if I did this straight out of high school, it's just a different. No, I can't compare this at all. I think this is drastically a lot more. I mean, it's a different country. You're essentially it's your first job, really. I know it's something.
It is a job. He's going to get paid.
Yeah, I know and I imagine it's probably his first job. I don't know what other jobs he's had, but I imagine majority of his time has been dedicated to basketball. Just now, he'll have the chance to get paid for it. Is any part of you worried that he just wants to make some money right now because he may not be as good as advertised? Do you think there's anything? Is there anything nervous about that? Does that make you nervous if you're Danny Ainge or any other NBA GM right now, or do you think this is something
Uh,
NBA guys should be excited about?
I don't think it's something to be nervous about. A guy who would like to make some money. He's looking to get a shoe deal. I think that's easy to understand and looking to go a different route. I'm not sure if this opens it up to a bunch of other players and they say, "Ooh, he's still kind of like you said, Brandon Jennings." There's been a couple other ones, but this has really not been a popular path yet at this point. Uh, I'm just wondering, you go and play in New Zealand and Australia. I don't know exactly the time difference, but it's pretty close to to the reverse of our time. So the casual fan's really not going to see him.
Yeah.
All these other guys, you're going to see them during March Madness. They're going to be on ESPN two times a week, and just wondering what they try to do as it gets closer to March Madness to kind of remind everybody, oh hey, yeah, there's this RJ Hampton guy. He's been doing pretty well in the NBL, or if he kind of is just like a little out of sight, out of mind.
Well, how many Luka Doncic games did you see before he was in the NBA? None. Like I didn't see any. Did you?
None.
Maybe a couple highlights
No,
on
but he's
draft day.
from over there,
Well,
so he'd been playing in that system for a while.
really think it's going to be that different of a system? I think it's going to be the same adjustment of him going to a college than as this. It's going to be he's going to be playing with better, bigger, stronger, faster guys, regardless whether he went overseas or into college. It's going to be a big jump from high school either way. I think getting the opportunity to get paid.
I just think I get what you're saying with the Luca comparison, but I'm just thinking for Luca, it would have been more similar for him if he were to have gone to college to compare it to what RJ Hampton did.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'm gonna go across an ocean to someplace where I don't really know the language, just someplace completely new, rather than, hey, here's what I've been playing, here's where I know the people, here's where my family is, and just seems like a little more comfortable of a situation. But everybody's different. Some people are interested in traveling, and who knows what the colleges offered him, and just said, hey, this isn't for me. He made a comment saying it was never his dream to play college basketball. It's his dream to play in the NBA. And there's other guys that they say, hey, I want to go to the NBA, but I have a dream to win a national championship.
Yeah, a lot of guys do have that dream of playing for a certain coach or going to a certain school that they've kind of idolized and just following, I guess, a little bit more of a standard path. As well as, I mean, we've talked about this before on this, the college experience. It's something I think a majority of people, if you've had it, you're very happy you did it. That freshman year, getting out on your own for the first time, like that's huge. But on the flip side of all
Mm-hmm.
that, I think traveling is the same experience. It's something a lot of people want to do, and if you've done it before, it's something you're very grateful for. And this is exactly that. I think he's traveling to another country as well. It's much more than just following the passion of his career. It's a whole other experience on top of it. It beats just taking a year off and not doing either. I don't know if he's going to be on quite the same platform. Like you said, being able to watch the game, see him is how you kind of build a hype up here. But I also totally understand playing against professionals, full-grown men in a league is going to be hopefully for the best in the long run. I don't know how his playing time works or anything else like that either. Like in college, I guess you are trying to win, but at the same time, you are trying to develop people as well. I think some coaches understand that to a certain aspect. I don't know how
Oh, as a
professional.
top five guy, you're gonna start. You're in college. You're gonna start and play the majority of minutes. I don't know
But
exactly how good this team he's going to.
I
On
don't
top
know.
of,
I
you
don't
said,
know
yeah,
either.
you're grown men.
But they're
You're
going to
not
want
gonna
to.
be.
They're going to
You're not
want to
gonna be
win,
the
right?
main guy.
Yeah, he's not going to be the main guy at all. They're going to want to win. If he has a bad game, he's getting benched the next game. There's not going to be this kind
Yeah,
of comfort
this,
level
yeah,
of
this professional.
don't worry, you're a rookie, you're a freshman. March is a couple months away. We're going to get there, where you're going to have to go through some
Figure
ups
it
and
out.
downs. I think if he has a down overseas, and this is a risk he's taking, there's a chance he rides the bench the whole year and doesn't even get in.
I would think going through this whole process, he must have some sort of guarantee that that won't happen. I mean, sure, you get hurt or you could really just stink, but I would think he had to been assured, hey, you can for sure cut it in this league. Like, here's where you're going to come in, and they sold him and said, hey, we think this will be a better option for you than going to college.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to follow up on this. I think this will be an exciting thing. I hope that this becomes a popular path. I think eventually, once the G League is kind of up and running, that'll become another outlet for people. It may not be quite as drastic of a move, where they can skip college and go straight to a professional league that's more integrated with the NBA. I like the idea. I think the more options these kids have, the better players we can get, the better options they can grow into. I like the idea of it. I hope it works. It has to work for somebody like this guy, a top 5 recruit, for this to become like an actual path. Like, he's got to pave the way for himself here. But hopefully, guys after this, especially a quality player like that, this may actually work for him. So I like the option of it. I know you're a big college guy, and this is in some ways taking away from it. Uh, like,
Yeah, like I said, being in Australia, I think it's going to be difficult for me to casually see him play. Where if he had gone to Kansas, like, for sure I'm going to watch a bunch of Kansas games, not even focusing on like, oh, I'm a big Kansas fan. It's just Kansas is on TV all the time. They're going to be in big matchups. It's going to be fun, and it's just I think I'm missing out.
Yeah. Well, speaking of missing out, we have a couple tech things that we're going to talk about right now. Let's talk about the guy that hacked the Apple website or some Apple computer and was caught doing this and is asking for a job from Apple after hacking their system right now. Bold strategy. A little
Yep.
bit more bold than going overseas. How did this play out? Who is this guy?
He's a teenager, so there's not a lot of information on him because he's a minor. So he's been hacking since he was 13, which I don't know how much older he is now.
Did he do a year overseas
still,
before that, or
still pretty young? He's it's funny that this is your segue. You didn't even know this. He's Australian.
boom, knew that. Yeah, see right there on the spot. Intern's getting a raise right now.
So I think it was a bold move, but I think to stand out, you got to do something a little different. There's a bunch of people that have the top degrees, have the top grades that are not getting the job. And here's a little wrinkle. He had heard that another person had did this, and they were hired. Not sure that that's true or not, but thought, hey, it's worth the risk. He's on $346 good behavior bond for 9 months. So really a slap on the wrist. I figured to get a suit and to try to go to an interview, that's going to cost more than that. This seems like a risk worthwhile. And his whole thing is he wasn't trying to create too many problems. He wanted to get noticed, and he hopes to study digital security and criminology at university, and just thought, hey, here's a way that I could use my skills and just kind of jump to the front of the line.
But it's a bold strategy. I can't say I'd recommend it to anybody, but if you're able to pull it off, I think it's worth it. I wouldn't encourage it about anybody. I would let this entirely be up to his own personal decision. I don't know, but like I said, anything you can do to stand out, especially for a company quite like Apple, he's not the only guy applying for this, so you want to stand out. I don't know if that's the right way to do it.
Don't you think this publicity right here gets him a job somewhere else, like not at Apple, but at some sort of startup?
Oh,
like,
if you're Microsoft, don't you want to hire this guy?
Like let's get this kid. He can he's bold. He's got the skills. Oh, Apple doesn't want him. We'll scoop him up.
Well, let me ask you this: do you think a guy that makes a decision like that is actually employable? Like, do you think he'll ever actually listen to anybody?
It depends on what the role is. What are you looking to do? Are you looking for someone to make moves and seize the opportunity? Or are you looking for a paper pusher that's just going to follow the rules? Different jobs are looking for different types of people.
Yeah, I get that. You could probably find 1 million people to do the paper pushing. There's only probably a handful of people that can do what he just did. So I guess you kind of want to let him loose. All right, he's a peacock captain. You got to let him fly. Yeah, I think you got to let him be. But that is not the only tech. Is there any more of that topic? That's not the only tech one we got. We got a couple other ones here that are maybe not as funny, but definitely interesting. We got a laptop that was loaded with malware and that sold for $1.3 million. I have no idea what the desire for this laptop was. Was this someone's personal laptop trying to retrieve it?
Nope, this was it's called a work of art, and they put the top, I guess, malware from I don't even know how far back this goes, but it's got these pieces of malware are installed and active, including "I Love You," "My Doom," "So Big," "Wanna Cry," "Dark Tequila," and "Black Energy." Uh, these malwares combined caused billions of dollars in damage.
And so why would you want them? Or they want to use them essentially? Somebody bought this laptop to use them?
I don't think so. I think you just have a laptop that's just got all of the viruses on it. I'd only heard of the "Wanna Cry," but yeah, it in total these six pieces of malware account for around $95 billion worth of damage throughout the infection of millions of systems.
I don't understand why you would pay for that. I'm baffled by this. I don't see what the advantage of having
It's
this.
a work of art.
It's a work of art. All right, so this is what this is some sort of tech idolizing
Yeah,
somebody
yeah.
that
It's the malware
masterfully.
it contains now forms it's a part of history.
Wow, and $1.3 million for a
Yep,
work of art. I suppose that
yep.
they're. I, maybe
I
you
think it's
gotta.
a conversation piece.
It's a conversation piece for sure. Yeah.
It's a unique item, and when you get to a certain level of wealth, it's all about having unique items that when people come to visit the house, you can bring them into your office and you can show them your laptop that you casually mention, like, yeah, I spent over $1 million on it. It's got all the malware on it. I was super nervous Googling that. I'll admit that.
Oh yeah, you're already screwed. We're already talking about it right now. They already got the whole hacked the system, everything. They're all over the website. Actually, while we're on the topic of that, make sure you go check out the website lcalcb.com. Go check out all the old podcasts as well as a little bio about Zach and I on there. There's some other links, some bunch of good stuff on there. Check out soldbywill.com for all your San Diego real estate needs, and make sure you follow Zach on Twitter, which is
We can see man 24.
yeah, lots of stuff on there. Speaking of some social media, as well as a light transition into some tech here. I mean, I know we're still on the same topic here. There was a phone, the Moto Z4. It is not out yet. That somehow leaked onto Amazon, and somebody found it on Amazon and purchased it, and it was delivered to him. It was an accidental leak. The actual phone has not been released yet. Amazon hiccuped on debuting it too soon, and somebody caught it, found it, and then was delivered the phone. The phone itself should come out, I think, next month or something. But who's getting fired for this? Right? Someone's getting fired here. And,
I'm going the other. I'm going the other direction. This sounds super fishy.
oh,
This
all right.
sounds like a prime candidate. Ooh, prime. See what I did there? Candidate of. All right. Yep. This is an Easter egg. Someone's gonna find it, and now aren't you gonna start looking for stuff? Did you look on Amazon, see if it was still there, if you could buy it, and just
No.
it's gonna create some buzz. We're talking about it right now. For sure, we wouldn't have been talking about the Motorola Z phone.
Yeah.
I think it's a. I don't think it's a. I think it's somebody getting promoted, not someone getting fired.
Oh, all right. I like that strategy too. I don't think that's the end of the world either. But
Because what's the worst thing that happens? That one person gets a phone, like you said, it comes out in a month, gets a phone a month early, so just enough for them. And I wonder if this person just happens to maybe have some sort of YouTube channel or some sort of blog and is able to, put out, oh, hey, here's what the specs are, here's what I like, here's what I don't like, a little early review.
well, actually, to my understanding, it's not a famous person. It was just some regular person that found it on like a recommended item on the side. It was like, oh,
Huh.
I don't
Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm stamping this one fishy.
it. You know what? I agree that there's definitely something suspicious about it. It doesn't seem, especially when you word it the way you did. It's got to something's not adding up here. But an interesting thing nonetheless. Maybe we should just be aimlessly searching on Amazon. I wouldn't mind being the test guy here. I'll do that. I'll take stuff early. The problem is it's not a very desirable phone to begin with. This is the one with like remember the Moto mods they had when you had like all the attachments on it. This is like the
Yep,
next
yep.
one of that. So there's supposedly like a whole bunch of attachments you can put on the phone. But the problem is the attachments are very expensive, and from my understanding, they didn't work from the old phone, and the ones that worked on the old phone aren't going to work on the new phone. So it's already like obsolete, and I don't see why
Not great.
anybody would want to spend the
Seems
money
like
on
they
that.
could use a little marketing boost.
Hey, well they got it. All right, they got it from little column A, little column B.
They got us.
Oh well, there's worse things. What if it's real though? What if this was actual leak? What if Amazon actually screwed this up? Maybe it's not a screw up. Maybe they just spin it like you said into that direction either way, whether it was a mistake or not. Uh,
Yeah, I don't think it's that bad. They didn't release all of them. If you released all of them by mistake, that seems like a big problem.
yeah.
Then you have to spin it as, oh, hey, early release, totally did this on purpose.
Speaking of some innovative styles here, that's some innovative marketing right now. There's a new laptop that Asus just released, the ZenBook Pro Dual. And the cool thing with it is it has two screens. It's got your standard screen on the top, and then it's got the keyboard kind of pushed down all the way to the bottom with the mouse pad on the right of it, and another screen kind of where the keyboard normally is on the bottom there. And it's just an extended screen. You can do multiple windows on the top and on the bottom, as well as you can split the bottom up into three different screens. It actually looks pretty cool. I'll make sure to post that on the website. Laptops haven't exactly changed a whole lot in recent time. I mean, I think this is actually kind of a good innovation technique. I don't know if anyone needs the additional room or if that keyboard actually works very well in this new location or if the mouse pad is big enough. I mean, I'm sure it's got a whole bunch of problems there, but any thoughts on maybe dual screen laptops being something of the future?
Do people still use laptops? I feel like I'm one of the last percentage that still does.
Well, it depends. If you use one, I imagine if you use one, chances are you have an additional monitor if you use it regularly. I think they're used just purely out of the portability of it. But if you've ever
But that's what the
used,
tablet's for.
okay, well, I don't think you could do all the same work on there's a certain power resistance. You're limited on that. I think it's certain things you can do on a laptop or a tablet.
Okay.
The laptops, you could do whatever you want on there. There's no restrictions really. As well as somebody who I have right now, the setup we have right now for the podcast, I have an extended
Mm-hmm.
monitor right now. I'm always looking for additional screens. I think it's always helpful to have something else to look back on, whether you're doing any sort of accounting or if you're drawing or editing or something like that. It's great to have an additional screen. So I actually see some advantage to this. I don't know if I'll ever actually purchase this, but I like where it's going. I like that somebody's trying to do something new, and as well as make something that makes a lot of sense. I already have an extended monitor on the side here. If I just had another screen, maybe I wouldn't even need that. Kind of an all-in-one.
Hmm.
I don't know, just an idea. There's all sorts of crazy things coming out. They just came out. The Asus is coming out with a phone right now too. That's got the the selfie cam pops out like it. You can't see it on the screen, and what it does is
Mm-hmm.
it's the same camera on the back of it, right? So the camera from the back flips out to the front and like rotates, so it turns into the selfie cam. So the same camera that you use to shoot pictures on the back is the same camera that flips all the way around and reverses as the selfie camera. It's all the same.
Hmm.
That's kind of crazy too. But at least Asus is trying some new stuff, right? I don't know if anything. It's kind of gimmicky and it's got my attention. I don't know. I don't know.
You gotta figure some way to stick out.
Yeah, I mean it's either that or hacking Apple. It's one or the
Yeah.
other.
You gotta stick out somehow.
The cool thing with the way the camera like rotates and flips out is you can actually control the speed that it rotates. Like it's got like a little button on the screen that you can use to move it. So if you were to like hold it like almost parallel, you can take like a panorama picture as it swings all the way around. It'll do a 180 picture,
Okay.
which is kind of cool. And it's also got like a little tracking feature in it too, where the camera will follow somebody if they move just left and right. It'll kind of pan all the way around and follow like somebody if you were to want to track it. So it's got some gimmicky stuff to it, but I don't know. I don't know how practical. I don't know how good the actual phone is, but it caught my attention to somebody trying to do something different, which is the whole point of talking about tech on the podcast, is to let people know that somebody's trying something different, and it may be the future, it may not be. This may be something we laugh about years down the road. This may be something that you see in every single phone in years to come. But speaking of things to see in years to come, is Chipotle always going to be giving out free burritos in the NBA Finals, or is that just this year? And I hear they have a pretty hefty budget for what they are going to be giving out this year.
$1 million worth of free burritos during the 2019 Men's Professional Basketball Championship Series, which I don't hear it referenced that way very often. But a lot of food people might not exactly know about the NBA Finals, so gotta help explain that so people will follow through. But yes, all you have to do is you follow them on Twitter and you watch the game, and anytime an announcer says free, any context, they're going to tweet out a coupon. And if they say free a whole bunch of times in that first game, that'll be it. But if they don't, it'll continue as the series goes on, so you can get some free burritos. They will also be doing free delivery on orders over $10.
Oh, all right. Hey, do you have a Chipotle by you?
Oh yeah.
Do you eat Chipotle? I've actually never had it. I've never had Chipotle.
Yeah, no, I'm Chipotle. It's like a nice kind of in between option of I'm just gonna go home and actually cook something in McDonald's. All right, I'm gonna kind of go down the middle here, and it's a little healthier. Definitely very filling.
I've had Moe's before. See, the problem for me is I know they have Chipotles in San Diego. I don't think they had a Chipotle in Berkshire County, at least when I was living there. But I have multiple burrito options out here. Chipotle,
exactly, yeah.
Chipotle is a little bit farther down the list of places to go for a burrito.
Yeah.
Which is the only reason I haven't tried it.
Sure.
Is finally living in like a city that has Chipotle, also has a bunch of other burrito options. So I haven't really been enticed to try it. But I hear good things outside of the not so good things you hear in the news in the past of, some food grade issues. I think some sanitation issues. I think it closed down for a little bit. These are the only stories I know because I think we've talked about them on the podcast.
Yeah, they've had some issues, but that's in the past, I guess. They're moving on. I think they've been okay for a little while. They're trying to get fresh ingredients, and it's difficult.
You don't think they're giving away $1 million of old ingredients so they can use the fresh ingredients?
Maybe, but if it's a free burrito, man, can't expect the top shelf kind of stuff.
I think that's the exact argument right there. If anyone were to complain about a free burrito, it's like, well, it was free. I don't. What do you want from us here?
Exactly.
Well, speaking of shopping, actually, we got about a couple minutes left in the podcast here, so we'll wrap things up. But I want to remind everybody, if you don't already have a Little of Column A, Little of Column B podcast T-shirt or sweatshirt, those are for sale right now. We have the #1 intern shirt, which just debuted today. I'll make sure to post that on the website. And that's going to be $24.99 on the front, like breast pocket kind of area. It says #1 intern with the logo, and then on the back, it's got our podcast logo as well. Available in a couple different colors. We got cranberry red, I think it's royal blue, dark heather gray, and a couple others on there as well. So make sure you go check those out. The sweatshirts are also available. Those will be $39.99. And you can find all these at merchbywill.com, or if you go to the website lcalcb.com, they'll also be on there. So lots of good stuff on there. So far, those have been selling a little steadily. It's here and there, but it's nothing but help, really. Just we're growing. All right, we got marketers out there right now. The interns are carrying these Little Column A, Little Column B podcast T-shirts. Hopefully, are spreading around the world right now. Did you pick up yours already? You got a T-shirt, right?
Yeah, I got a T-shirt.
Yeah, this past Memorial Day weekend, everybody at the restaurant wore their sweatshirts, so that was kind of cool. The Cozy Corner sweatshirts were all being shown off. So we'll make sure to post all those and share all those. A bit of a sick day for both of us here, especially you. I know you're powering through right now. So we might wrap up a little bit early here. Is there anything else you want to add for the people out there? Any topics we didn't get to?
No, we got all the topics, and yeah, hopefully next week both of us will be fresh and ready to go. We both past 2 weeks wanted to make sure we kept our streak alive. We wanted to do what we could for the listeners. We appreciate all the effort you put in to listen to the pod every week. So yeah, we'll be back next week. Both gonna be healthy.
Yeah,
100%.
let's hope so. All right. Yeah, I hope everyone else listening is healthy too. I don't know how we managed to get sick on opposite ends here, but yeah, we'll be back. We record live every Wednesday, so you can go to the website as well to listen on there. We do have one listener on back-to-back weeks right now that has listened to us. I don't know who it is, but thank you for listening live. It's saving the time later. So if you want to listen live, you can do that as well. And we'll be back next week on Wednesday. Thank you as always for listening.
Well, little column A, little column B.